Welcome to the War Insider. Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin, and propagandists claim that the war in Ukraine is progressing successfully and according to plan. The Ukrainian side also claims the same. However, sometimes it is difficult to evaluate how the war is actually going for both sides. We need to look at the actions of certain parties. One unique and unexpected action on Russia's part is the appearance of air defense complexes on the roofs of buildings in Moscow. In the sixth month of the war, the capture of Kyiv in 3 days first turned into the defense of Belgorod. Trenches were dug there, and it was said that they were waiting for the Ukrainians to besiege Belgorod. And after 11 months of this war, additional air defense is being set up in Moscow. Despite the constant reports of the Russian army's successes, Russia is now protecting the sky over Moscow. This is likely due to Ukraine's successful drone attacks on 2 Russian strategic airfields, one of which is farther from the front line than Moscow. Russia is being dragged into a deep war and has begun to defend itself in its own cities, including Moscow. Russia is likely afraid of drones, says Bloomberg. It is clear that Russia is taking the threat of drone attacks seriously and is taking measures to protect its cities, including Moscow. According to available information, the construction of several air defense facilities has already begun, sites for the installation of air defense systems and control centers. Most of them are located in urban districts in the south and southeast of the Moscow region, but there are also within the city. So, how did the Russian air defense system expand in January according to photos from open sources? The new 1ZRPK Pantsir was seen on the building of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation in Moscow. Also, the ZRPK Shell S1 was raised to the roof of a multi-story building. The building is located at Teterinsky Lane, 8. It houses company offices, a photo studio, and a vocal school. S-400 Air Defense Division was deployed of an entire near Sokolniki in Moscow. The S-400 air defense systems were deployed at the experimental fields of the Timoryzev Agricultural Academy in Moscow. From January 2nd, the military began to use the territory of the Skinner-Volomskaya Street for their own purposes. Another of the Pantsir S1 anti-aircraft systems was spotted 2 kilometers from the Ostafyevo airfield, where the Russian military is based, and the Gazprom Avia Business Airport is located. Also, an air defense system was installed not far from Putin's residence, according to Russian media. According to preliminary information, the video was filmed on January 6 near the village of Sarekai, Odintsovo urban district of Moscow. Putin's residence in Novo-Ogaryovo is located 10 kilometers from the location of the Pantsir C1 installation. Additionally, the deforestation of the Luzhny Ostrov National Park and the deployment of an air defense system there is another indication that Russia is taking the threat of drone attacks seriously. On this map, we have collected all the new air defense sites that have begun to deploy over the past month and accidentally hit the social media. It is also possible that Russia is concerned about the potential supply of Western weapons to Ukraine, although it is unlikely that these weapons would have the range to reach Moscow. Overall, it seems that Russia is shifting its focus from offensive operations to defensive measures, as it becomes increasingly clear that the war in Ukraine is not progressing as smoothly as initially thought. Another factor that may have contributed to Russia's decision to strengthen its air defense in Moscow is the increasing use of drones by various actors in the conflict. Drones have become an important tool in modern warfare, as they are able to provide surveillance, reconnaissance, and even strike capabilities. The fact that Ukraine has successfully tested a strike drone with a range of 1,000 km has likely raised concerns in Russia that its cities, including Moscow, could be vulnerable to drone attacks. Apart from the threat of drones, it is also possible that Russia is taking defensive measures due to the changing nature of the war in Ukraine. Initially, Russia had planned for a quick offensive operation, but as the war has dragged on and Ukraine has been able to successfully defend itself and launch counterattacks, Russia has had to shift its focus to defensive measures. This is evident in the digging of trenches and building of concrete teeth in different places in Russia, as well as the installation of air defense systems in Moscow. Russia's decision to strengthen its air defense in Moscow is likely a result of a combination of factors, including the successful drone attacks by Ukraine, the changing nature of the war in Ukraine, and the increasing use of drones in warfare. Russia is taking defensive measures to protect its cities, including Moscow, from potential drone attacks, as it becomes clear that the war in Ukraine is not progressing as smoothly as initially thought. It should be mentioned that Ukraine has never yet struck civilian targets. All attacks were on military installations and supply chains. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video informative and insightful. We'll be continuing to bring you more updates about war in Ukraine. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel for more informative videos like this one.